Okay, guys, welcome to the next episode of A Cup of What's Up. This is podcast number 2, and this one is going to be a solo one right now. But right now, we're going to get into the big topic that I really has just been on my chest for various of different spectrums of society and where we're at. And I just feel like hopefully, I'm gonna be able to conclude that to my main point and ultimately get you guys to understand where I'm coming at. But you already know what it is. This is Roy Savage, guys, and we're gonna jump right into it once I find the notepad. Okay, there it is. So, guys, for our first topic, straight up, we're gonna get into music. So when I say music, it's gonna be very generic, and I'm gonna try to narrow it down. But basically, man, you gotta take it in right now what's going on with the music industry. So as we all know, sorry, as we all know, rap or hip hop or whatever you want to call it, that's what's dominating the industry right now. That's what's pulling. You have radio stations who only played rock. Like I think it's Z1035. I remember it's like if that ever came on while you're switching to the radio, if you're not someone into rock and that type of stuff, that's the network, that's the radio station you used to just skip over, right? You just skip over that one. But now they be playing and doing interviews with rappers, hip hop. Everyone's on the wave because money. At the end of the day, if it makes money, we're going for that. I may not like the music, I don't mess with the culture, but if it flips $1, I'm about it. And that, to a certain degree, is okay when you're talking business, but when you're talking morally, that's not the way to go. And that's kind of where it's gonna be at for the majority of the video. It's like corporate minded than the moralistic mind. It doesn't mix. It's water and oil. You know what I mean? It's water and it's fire and ice. You know what I'm trying to say? So with that being said, you got to take in the progression, or it's not even a progression, but just how the industry has moved on. But at the same time, it's not a progression. It's gotten worse in a sense. So the main, as I told you guys, the main video. It's gonna be the topic's gonna be the 2000s versus like now, like 2018. And 2018 in its own has been like a hashtag. It's been like a phrase, you know, and it's been a phrase to name many changes that have gone on from back then till now. You know, for one example, you know, the fact that we can't say anything without being ripped apart by the internet, right? And then we always say 2018, right? You know, just when you say 2018, instantly you get it, you know, and that's a problem in its own. But to get back to the point, you know, back in the days, you got to remember rock kind of like, you know, ruled the industry because you have like your top industry people who kind of run the music, or like, you know, your upper, what do you call them? White collar, like white individuals. And when rock was big, you're gonna push your own music that your people influence naturally. So it's like if white people are running the industry and they have the money, then the rock music, if that's your music or you're gonna for your people, then that's what you're gonna push. Plus the majority of, you know, North America, you know, they always say you want to gain the white audience, you know, because the people that fuck with you, if you're like Filipino and you have Filipino on a Spanish, you have a Spanish audience, black, you have a black audience. End of the day, everyone always tries to gain the white audience, you know, because you're going to be, it's the perception that you're gaining that big pocket of money. So rock at the time when it was dominating, you know, it was doing its thing, but I always kind of looked at it as everyone kind of always knew rap was better. It just didn't have the same, what do you call it? It didn't have the same clout as rock, and it wasn't being pushed up until the point where, you know, we kept pushing, you know, and the consensus eventually got there because it was obvious it was eventually gonna happen. Rap, hip hop was better. Rock kind of derived. Let's be honest, rock derived, you know, started to really form into what is rap. They got more lyrical in rock, as I noticed, you know, because I grew up in an area where a lot of people listen to rock and stuff, and I always said, you know, rap is eventually gonna take over. And when it did, guys, look where it's at now. Like look where the float's at. It's almost like ultimately we wanted hip hop and rap to conquer and dominate the industry, and now that it has, it's almost as if it got there, but it was stripped of itself when it got there towards the end. Like through the battle of getting to the top, is it really even rap or is it hip hop? That's what I'm kind of getting at. It's like for what it is, like writing lyrics, you know, having that beat, the flow, the melody, like what we know as rap, what we know as hip hop is there, but what it stood for is no longer there. You know, look at the content, and I get it. In this new age, we want to be listening to the beat, you know, feeling the melody more so than the lyrics. And there are people that do still appreciate the lyrics, like myself. And to add to that, there's also an appreciation to good lyrics with a good beat. But for the most part, guys, we could just play an instrumental and not even really care that the lyrics are there. You have Metro Booming's album with some sick instrumentals, with some sick tracks with sick lyrics, and then they complement each other on the album. But when he has his other half when it's just the instrumentals, I realize sometimes that instrumental will just play through. My headphones are in my ear, and I'm not even really tripping over the fact that there's no lyrics. It's just kind of the melodies going through. I'm bumping my head and I'm going through my day. I'm doing what I have to do. And even more so to a benefit, you don't have the lyrics clouding your head. So in some ways, we're digesting music. Like, I just want it to kind of complement my day, complement my vibe, more so than actually gaining something from the content. And that's why a lot of music now doesn't have any longevity. It lacks longevity because it's just on, we could argue about just about flipping a bag, getting those views and streaming. We'll get into that. But for the most part, if it lacks that quality of lyrics and there's nothing to gain from the song, then you're just going for the sound. And as we all know, when you go for the sound dies out. You get bored of sound. Lyrics, a deep message is something that lives on, and that's why music had such power before, because it was a deep message that would only really be listened to because you had that sound to complement it. So it's like, I know you're not gonna hear me want to do spoken word, because not a lot of people are into that. But if I throw a beat on it and, I kind of make a melody to my words, now it's like you gain that message and it comes through in the art of like music, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But now that we switched it up, there's no message. So once you get bored of the sound, you want something else. And I believe that's why there's no longevity in music. And a lot of artists now are forced to just pump shit out until it's, what they believe it's something good. But because of this, and that's that. How to change that? Obviously, promote more lyrics in music, but the people controlling it are changing the narrative, and that's not a conspiracy. If you control the money, you control the actions, then you're ultimately the reason why we're digesting whatever we're digesting. And if what we're digesting isn't right and it's not being changed, because it doesn't want to be changed. And you'll see it with the artists that are lyric strong never really come out as big as like a Little Pump, who's just really throwing out something that sounds good, right? And that also ties into where I was getting with the streaming thing, and that like everyone's just trying to fill up a bag. If your sound sounds good enough people want to listen to it through their ear, like just without even knowing, like subconsciously basically, then your streams are pulling through because that person just listened to that song over and over again. Then you get more money, so you kind of just lose that need for change, and then there was the ultimate problem of people start liking you based off your struggle music, and then when you make it, your music changes and becomes shitting on people. You just get to talking like everybody else, and not a lot of rappers are able to alter from that, and it just kind of just falls into the flow of everyone else, right? So originally you would have to watch out for that. Now you have all this other stuff. It just kills the industry, and the murderer here is the corporate mind. Just that money mind state is ultimately the disease that's killing the artistry and the love in music. And I'm gonna leave it at that with music, because I went on for that was like 9 minutes, guys. It's gonna be a thicker podcast, and I might chop it down to segments. So so as long as I'm going just roughly under 10 minutes per segment, I'll be able to chop it down for you guys. But that's that for music, and I want to know what you guys think on that one, if you agree with my point where music's heading. Personally, I digest everything. If it sounds good, I fuck with it, and that's also the problem. I'm a part of the problem because I personally like lyrics. I write lyrics, and I really like digging deep into about music. But then I notice I can't have those conversations with my friends because everyone's just on that. I just want the sound. I don't even give a fuck about the lyrics. So it's almost like a dead topic that I always have to keep within. Hence why I'm here making a podcast, and a YouTube channel, so I get to talk about this stuff. But we're gonna hop off the music flex and hop on